All right, peace to my brothers and welcome to We Must First Be Brothers. I start with our salutation in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who made his intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise I forever do. And I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger, Messiah. And I further bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their servant and divine reminder and present day warner among us. I greet you, our dear brothers, with the greetings of peace, the language of our ancestors, our forefathers, the original language of the original man, and the greeting words of peace of As-salam alaikum, which simply means peace be unto you. And that is the prayer in which we come this evening, is in the spirit of peace and brotherhood, to address critical issues that concern us as brothers, as Black men, under this very important and significant instruction and banner: we must first be brothers. So we welcome you all to our call. We welcome those who are tuned in, listening via Facebook, who are tuned in, listening on YouTube. Our ground rules is that we are here to solve problems. We're not here to debate, but we're here to explore and dig deeply into these issues that concern us, with hopes that we can start the action steps to repairing our condition. We are deeply engaged in this process. We are serious. We're not here to play games. We're not here for likes or subscribes. Unless you are subscribing and liking the agenda and determined to join on to helping us to grow as brothers. It's time for us to be brothers. So I want to start something the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us. He taught us that we are to be the light of the world. He taught us that light exposes that which is in darkness. A light reveals truth. In fact, light is sometimes used interchangeably with the word truth. A light guides those who have lost their way. Allah says in the Quran that He is the light of the heavens and the earth. The question for us tonight, brothers, is: are we reflecting that light? Are people reflecting that light? Or are we reflecting the darkness of this world? You know, I was studying this week and the subject of the rainbow came up. The rainbow is a natural sign from Allah. It produces, when light passes through it, a moisture, this moisture from rain or whatever, when light passes through it, it produces a beautiful prism of colors. It is a natural phenomenon with the divine meaning. Yet today, that natural symbol has been redefined by a movement that promotes ideas contrary to the natural order and the divine purpose of creation. What was once a sign in nature has been repurposed to justify conduct that, according to the teachings of truth and God and wisdom, Islam, all truth, violates the purpose of procreation. This world has replaced divine purpose with personal pleasure. The Holy Quran asks, have you seen him who takes his low desires for a God beside God? When desire becomes our gods, truth is no longer determined by revelation. It is determined by appetite. Brothers, we have to ask ourselves another question. Who is shaping our desires? The music industry, Hollywood, television, social media, the internet in all forms? These are not simply forms of entertainment. They are powerful tools that influence belief, values, language, and behavior. Research consistently shows that heavy social media use is associated with increased anxiety, loneliness, body image dissatisfaction, and reduced attention span, especially among young people. The average teenager spends several hours a day on social media, constantly consuming messages that shape identity and normalize behaviors previous generations would have questioned. If someone controls the images you consume, they can influence the ideas you accept. The minister said it like this: he who supplies the diameter of your thinking controls the circumference of your activity. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to study the forces that shape our minds. We cannot allow the enemy to define our values. Then consider this principle. How do you know the level of development of any man or any people? Look at his woman. The condition of our women reflect the condition of our men, just the condition of our children reflect the condition of our homes. So tonight's question is simple. What is decency? When did indecency become entertainment? When did twerking become empowerment? When did posting nearly naked pictures become confidence? When did profanity become normal conversation? When did violence become recreation? When did public shame become viral content? Have we normalized the very things that are weakening our family, corrupting our children, and making our communities less safe? If we are truly the light of the world, then we cannot merely complain about the darkness. We must become examples, and we must challenge and go to war against the darkness. Because before we can change a community, we have to change ourselves. And that's what we are here to talk about today. We must first be brothers is an active engagement in going to war against the darkness that is destroying our communities. We have the power today to unite. We don't have to make excuses about being able to unify. There's enough wisdom circulating in the universe and that we have access to today that will allow us to unite so that we can forge a solid force against the intent, the aim, and the destructive forces of our enemy against our people. So I'm very pleased to be here to have this discussion, of which I believe is just really probably a part one to this discussion. For this is right now the theme really of our movement and consciousness as Black people. This is the theme of our nation, is making our communities decent and safe places to live. And this is not just relegated, if you will, to street violence and crime, but this is relegated to every type of attack that demoralizes, that causes a human being to be degraded to a behavior that's really beneath that of an animal and the beast of the field. Look at our conditions, brother, today. Look at the condition of our women and our children today. Hell has completely erupted. And so we're here to start our discussion, and we're excited about what we're here to discuss. Again, we're not here to go to war with each other. We're here to establish brotherhood. We're here to establish a brotherhood that will go to war. I don't care what your religious philosophy or theological preference is. Express yourself from yourself with the aim of helping us to address this subject that we're on. We want to stay on subject today. So we're not here to talk about anybody else or what anybody else is failing to do. What we're here to talk about is what we need to do and what we need to address in our community that is destroying us as a people, destroying us as brothers. It is the responsibility of men to take the leadership of our community. It is the responsibility of brothers to unite, to give support to one another, that we may be strengthened by each other and that we may have the ability and the power and the force of power of our being to overcome our enemy. So I want to keep it moving right along. This discussion really, is spiritual in some regard, but it is social. It has a lot of dimensions to it. It has a lot of areas, and that's why we're going to talk about it for a little while. We're not just going to talk tonight. We're going to build on this subject and different aspects of making our communities decent and safe places to live, and tying it into we must first be brothers. In fact, giving birth out of we must first be brothers, relating to it and connecting the dots so that we can understand what the real picture is all about. So I want to say, like I said, I'm talking to my dear brother Louis Ali this week, and sometimes you don't have, I wait for the inspiration, to be honest with you. And we started talking about the indecency. We've been talking about degeneracy for some time now because we're witnessing just an enormous proliferation of degeneracy all over the internet throughout our communities. It is sickening, brothers. It should be sickening to a real man to witness our women twerking, to witness brothers out of control, children out of control in our community. It should make us angry as a man. Not complaining, but angry to the point where we feel motivated to do something about it. We're looking at young brothers who are ignorantly being murdered by these Caucasians, little brother like Nolan Wells, who goes out and trusts the enemy. Well, what is the matter with that picture? We have failed to teach our children adequately the history of what has happened to us. So we are trusting enemies and we continue to repeat the same cycle. And then we want to protest and complain and have an expectation that the enemy is going to give us justice when justice is not in his nature. We should have figured that out by now. We should have figured it out by now after all of the injustices that we have experienced as a people, that we're not going to receive it. The justice that we desire and need comes from Almighty God and ourselves. Start by being just to ourselves, and that's why we're talking about decency, because indecency is an injustice to self. When we don't call out and shame the indecency in our behavior, then we allow it to live and to flourish and continue to destroy us as a people. So I want to get my dear brother to help us to continue to boost this right along the way. And we're going to come to each one of you because we want to know what is decency to you? What does indecency mean to you? What's your thoughts on this subject as we move down this process? But Brother Louis, we welcome you, brother, to our process as you are one of our anchors. See Brother Jay, one of our anchors. We grateful for the soldiers that are helping to fortify these efforts. Brother John was not able to be here tonight. Family dynamic with his beloved sister. We're praying for her health and well-being and their family, to make sure that everything will be okay with them and any other brothers that may not have been able to make the call tonight. But we welcome you. We welcome those of you who are in social media to comment, ask questions, join in the call, brothers, and bring your positive intellectual input to this conversation. It's time we build. We don't have to argue over theology and have pissing contests anymore. We don't have to do that. If what you believe is good, then let's extract the good out of what you have and let's put it together in this pot and let's make something that is beneficial for the whole of our community. So, Brother Louis, we welcome you, brother. Brother Louis Ali in the South, who is doing a remarkable work. We're looking forward to spending some time with you this weekend, but we'll get to that a little later. Brother Louis.
Just an great opening.
Praise be.
Great opening, and this is why I always tell everyone, you got to get the book written by Brother Michael Muhammad, We Must First Be Brothers. And also subscribe to the Final Call newspaper.
Yes.
As we march towards discipline, decency, we all got to become readers and studiers. So I want to pick up on one of the principles that you put in the book, Brother Michael. And it goes right into decency, because one of the reasons why we're so comfortable being indecent is that our lives don't circumvent around truth.
Mm.
The majority of us bear witness to lies and have become liars. Let's look at a few lies. Is Jesus black or white?
Come on. Come on. Black.
If he's white, we don't have a problem with that if it were the truth.
That's right. Come on.
But what if somebody said the truth, that the truth don't matter?
Teach.
Well, wait a minute. If I commit a crime, they're going to want a description of me. And based on that description, whether they know their name or not, they'll be in hot pursuit of me. So it matters. Truth does matter. Did Santa Claus bring us toys during Christmas? Or did our parents work real hard?
Teach.
Because if our parents worked real hard and bought us something, we ought to be more grateful to our parents than a jolly white man who comes from the North Pole. I'm bringing that up. I want to start there with truth. What is the truth? Now, they got people who say, you can have your truth, I can have my truth. But the reality is, truth, according to the teachings, stand alone. Am I black because I'm cursed? Do I come for it? Because that was how they justified slavery. They told people a lie and said that they found us in Africa running up and climbing up and down trees with a bone in our nose. And to the common Caucasian who may have never seen a black person before, they bring us off the boat and knock our teeth out and force feed us hog, take all of our clothes off, and then show us to the masses of people on this side and say these people are savages. Well, if I'm a savage, if that's the truth, then they can justify slavery. And we bear witness to a lie. Now look at what you wrote in the book, Brother Michael. Liars are detrimental to, and this is point number 9 on page 7. Liars are filthy swine which eat away the good and stink up the brotherhood. All right?
Yes, sir.
Liars are detrimental to the harmony of a community and can even contribute to violent outcomes. Honesty and deception breeds mistrust and undermines the solidarity that is essential to brotherhood. Truth is crucial to build a strong brotherhood, just as fire requires oxygen to burn. Deceptive behavior creates a facet of sincere, but ultimately lacks honesty and sincerity. It is important to always be truthful. Start with oneself and extending it to the brotherhood. Honesty should be practiced in all situations, particularly in times of war, where a lie is necessary to protect lives of families and brotherhood. All right? Excuse me, I said it should be. However, there may be a situation, particularly in times of war, that a lie is necessary to protect the lives of family and brotherhood. Deception can be a tactic in warfare. To become proficient in telling the truth is to become proficient in avoiding deception. Most of the indecency that we've become comfortable with is centered around we have become a people that believe lies and don't believe necessarily that truth is necessary. Are boys girls and girls boys? Is there a difference? Is it a border to where this is masculine, this is feminine? See? Do we deserve to be forever under the authority and tutorship of Caucasians? This is a question.
Come on.
Should women pay all of the bills and take care of men, and men become their slave masters? Are we building a brotherhood so that women can take care of us? See, if you have the mindset of a slave, maybe you think a woman should take care of you. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not talking about children, I'm talking about grown men. So the indecency that we see in our community, should women have sex with everybody in the community and then get married? So that kind of, see, I'm raising questions so we can
Yes,
kind of
sir.
think about it.
Come on, raise them, brother.
Do husbands and boyfriends get the same rights? Should we have pornography as men in our homes? The devil says you can have it. What about, is it okay for us to drink alcohol, lots of it, and build a strong brotherhood? What about, can I be a good father and snort cocaine, but I don't bother nobody, I don't beat nobody up or nothing? I, as an individual, whatever that means, I snort. If the individual is puffing and smoking, is he a good father? If there are children down the street who don't have shoes on their feet, because this is all leading up to decency, not perfection, but what is the decent thing that we should do as men? If there's a little boy down the street and he don't have shoes, what is the decent thing that a truthful man would do? Does his mother owe us anything for being decent? I'm asking, because these are the questions that we got to ask ourselves. If a man is beating his wife, I mean beating her, because she is flip at the mouth, what should that man do? Is he a good brother to be in our brotherhood and he knocked his wife's teeth out? We're asking. We got to ask these questions, because every day in the Black community, this is what's going on.
Yes.
And the problem is we've been too silent about it. Are you a decent man to not say nothing?
Come on, brother.
And you know your great uncle is a damn pedophile?
Come on, brother.
We're talking about decency. I'm not talking about the pedophile. I'm talking about the one who knows he's a pedophile.
Teach.
Become one. Maybe through epigenetics, these spiritual diseases are passed on from one generation to another. How do you accept a man in your brotherhood that don't want to take care of his children?
Come on. Teach.
A selfish man. He has enough money to take care of his children, but he'd rather go to the boat and gamble it.
Teach.
Could you in good faith call yourself a decent man? You don't. Now look, we don't disrespect anyone, but I got to push back on that.
Yes.
If you're my friend, you have to take care of your children. In fact, I may try to get you to take care of some children that are not your biological children.
Come on.
Because
Uncle.
there is a need.
Yes.
If you have an elderly old lady who lives 2 doors down for you, she's 80 years old, man. Does she have a right to go out in her yard like my mother-in-law and plant some plants and some tomato plants and maybe some flowers? She has beautiful flowers in her yard. and she wants to get a little son, she goes out. Does your second cousin get to go over there and rob that old lady? And you talking about what up, cuz? I would want to break my cousin's damn neck. You're not my friend. I'm not your friend.
Mm.
And see, this is the kind of brotherhood that we gotta become. We gotta become a brotherhood to help people who don't have a moral compass gain a moral compass. And this is not self-right. When you say decency, Brother Michael, you're not talking about self-righteousness.
Brother.
See, self-righteousness is, I got mine. I don't care about the little homie down the street.
Brother.
Who knows a little homie that's selling dope? You don't have to go to the white man and tell a white man on him. Why don't you go talk to him? You say, look, bro, this is decency. We can't have drugs flooding in our community. There's a better way. How much of that dope money you say you got?
Teach, brother.
Well, there's a lot of vacant businesses around here.
Come on, brother.
They need a good businessman like you, good brother.
Come on.
But look here, man. You can't poison everybody because that would make you individualistic. And Brother Lewis, we don't roll as an individual. See, we say a team. We're a team. We're a family. We're here. We want you to have a comfortable life, but not at the expense of other people. What about the pimp? You got these little young girls. They watch the internet. They're going through puberty. Puberty has to be managed. Do you hear what I'm saying, Brother Michael?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're old. We're not old. We're not too old to remember what it's like to go through puberty. It shouldn't be mocked. We don't put young people down. Minister Farrakhan didn't put us down. He opened up a class free of charge to help civilize us. He didn't make us perfect. But Mike, man, Brother Michael, Brother Tony, he made us so decent. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Think about the decency of Farrakhan. He didn't charge us nothing. We were too ignorant. We didn't know the value of it when we first went in there, but we joined. He starts teaching you how to eat to live. So you become an older man looking like a younger man. He started teaching us, security, how to check, how to police our community. Now, this Mr. Elijah Muhammad's best student, they go by the name of Farrakhan, start teaching, and may Allah be pleased with Sensei Anthony Muhammad's queen.
Yes.
May Allah bestow many blessings and reward him in the absence of his lovely queen.
Yes.
But that man went around helping to teach us martial arts. So he gave the young people something to do, He gave us something to do. We're in our early 20s, Brother Michael.
Yes, sir.
And we can't pay the minister back for that.
That's
that, right?
That's right.
So what we got to do is we got to give it to the young people who are coming behind us. So I'm not going to talk long. I'm going to just stop right there on decency and making our own community a safe and decent place to live. I say work and play.
Brother, I can't thank you enough for that opening statement and really just leveling out our direction and where we need to go, because it was powerful. And really those questions really are pricking. They're powerful questions. Just made me think, should we be supporting businesses or internet businesses like OnlyFans? Should we be supporting gas stations that sell pork and crack pipes and pornography to our young people? Should we be allowing these kind of things to live in our community where people from foreign countries can come in and have their way with our woman and we don't call it out? Where are the men today? It's the question it's the question that's driving the answer. Where are the men today that would say, hell no, we're not accepting this kind of treatment against our people. We're not allowing our little girls to have to grow up in a world where they think that it is okay that when a song come on, they turn around and they twerk their backside and they do it on the internet before the world. This is our woman. This is our sister.
That's our daughter.
That's our daughter, bro. This our nieces. You make the point about pedophilia and molestation. These things are happening in the Black community, and we're sweeping them under the rug. We're not exposing them. Why aren't we exposing these kind of things, brothers? This is the duty of a real man, to protect his community. That's how you make it decent and safe. It's not just going out, like I said, and attacking the little brother who may be ignorant and he's just committing crime. He's only committing crime because we haven't aggressively created an environment where he can see a different path. That's a great example that you gave with the brother that might be out hustling some dope. Give him an alternative. You didn't go out and condemn him. You didn't say, I condemn you to death because of what you're doing. You said, brother, there's a better way. Let's take what you have achieved up to this point and let's go buy some of these abandoned buildings and let's go clean up our neighborhood, brother. And now you can kind of make voodoo. You can wash that. You can clean it up. That's what the enemy has done.
That's right.
He put the whole civilization on the backs of slaves, brother.
That's
he put
right.
the whole world on your and my great ancestors' backs. Now you ride around in it and you celebrate it and you're happy, but don't realize that you're walking around on the blood of your own ancestors, bro. But then look at how we treat them. Look at how we treat the memory and the sacrifices of those who paid the way for us. Our woman, and that's why I made that point. You can measure the level. You can see where the people are based on the condition of their woman.
That's right.
Look at our women. Look at our girls, bro. See, so at some point we got to take charge of our responsibility as men, and that's why we're talking about making our communities decent and safe places to live. You got to stop being led by your penis, black man. And can I just say it raw like this? You got to stop allowing somebody to put a butt in your face and control you like you are remote control. That's the work of our enemy.
That's right.
That's what we're here to talk about: decency, morality. You cleaning up your appetite. You can't be a dog, man, where you just go and eat behind the slop trot of whatever your enemy put down to keep you a nigga for the rest of your days. We just gonna be niggas, man? Come on, brother. We just gonna be niggas forever? Our children are gonna grow up and they just gonna grow up and morph into more niggas? We gonna nigga after nigga. Our daughters gonna be bees and hoes forever? At what point do we say, hell no, heavens no, we're not accepting this anymore?
Could you court a woman who calls herself the B word?
Teach.
Would you marry a man who's bisexual?
Come on.
Questions, see? We just got to ask questions so we can think.
Yes.
How attractive are you to be a big old 6'2", handsome black man, but you don't want a woman?
Teach.
You want another man.
Teach.
Should you give your daughter to the people who oppressed our grandfathers in marriage? We're talking about decency. What about a really wealthy, Brother Michael? There are some really wealthy people that are dressed in our skin. Should we idol worship them while they ride by our community every day and don't invest a dime? Why don't they own the mom and pop shops in our community? The little young brothers that are in elementary school. When I grew up with my grandmother, we went to church 3 times a week, but on Sunday I had to go to Sunday school. You familiar with that?
Yes, sir.
Well, Sunday school was pretty much ran by the children, and we all went to Sunday school. But they at my church, which was her church, at my church, but her church, they taught Black history also at Sunday school, because the church came out of that revolutionary background where it's a church on the surface, but underneath the surface are the deacons of defense in a revolutionary movement. Now, for the young people who don't know the deacons of defense, they're not Muslims, they were Christians. And these Christians were very militant Black men who had a moral compass. And what they did, they not only protected the church, I'm going to go somewhere with this. But they protected the livestock. They protected the farms because racist Caucasians would burn your farms so that you couldn't eat, to force you into dependency on them, because many Black people weren't going to the back door. They built their own communities. So it was the Deacons of Defense that protected those farms. They weren't all posted up at the church. They protected the church, because the number one thing that Satan wants to destroy is your spiritual center. And that's the reason why Minister Farrakhan said that all of the 9 ministries circumvent around one ministry, Brother Michael, and that is the spiritual ministry.
Absolutely.
The spiritual ministry is like our Kaaba, the spiritual center. The male, the man is supposed to be the imam in his home. He's supposed to be the moral compass with the vision. He's supposed to be the prayer leader. The Holy Quran teaches us that prayer, you can call it prayer, you can call it meditation, it helps to remove evil and indecency. And the remembrance of God is the greatest force. It says in the Quran, the remembrance of Allah. But in every home, the spiritual center, the man, the Kaaba that the family is supposed to circumvent around, has either been destroyed. So the rebuilding of the Kaaba is the rebuilding of a spiritual center in every family at home. And then the rest of the family circumvent around the belief in the one God. But if you don't have a man, I didn't say a male, I said a man who is spiritually strong enough to bow down to God's principles, and then get the family to bow down to the principles, we can't have a decent community. And so in many of these homes, there is no, that's why I mentioned about the truth. There is no truth. If you don't have the truth as a man, who says thou shalt not steal is incorrect. If you have the power to steal and the opportunity to steal, unless that moral compass in you, you will steal. Who says that? Knocking off somebody's little daughter or stealing somebody's wife. Who says, why can't you do it? If you don't have a moral compass or decency, and this is why the enemy, he's very slick. He tries to take God out of everything. He didn't want the remembrance of God in schools. So you claim that you're giving them education, but you're robbing them of their spiritual core. And at our spiritual core, we're spiritual beings.
Right.
All of us are spiritual beings.
Absolutely. Brother, I want to keep it moving a little bit today, you know, and I appreciate what you say. I'm not cutting you off necessarily, but I just want to keep this energy flowing because I want to hear from some of our other brothers in this conversation. But I wanted to say this, Brother Lewis, because you hit something very important. I just want to read this before we move on, because I seen Elijah, I seen your hand up, and then we just want to keep going down the list. And brothers, please raise your hand, but we want your participation in the discussion in whatever way you can. But we're laying a foundation by raising these questions, and we're trying to prick the consciousness. That's the nature of how we're approaching this subject, because we have to look at what's happening and sober up and face the reality of what's going on. Morality is the system of principles, to your point, Brother Lewis, values or standards that people use to distinguish right from wrong and good from bad, and to guide their behaviors toward others. It generally involves ideas such as respect for others, treating people with dignity and fairness, honesty, telling the truth and keeping promises, responsibility, being accountable for one's action, compassion, caring about the well-being of others, justice, acting fairly and impartially. I think this is where the core where we're going, is that we have to become moral all the way across the board, and immorality is ruling the planet. The hip hop industry, the music industry, we need to go to war, because we don't need to be asking or having questions asked to generations of our young people where the boosters at. You know, where the boosters at? Where are you boosters at? You know, spin that, spin that, spin that. You know, come on now. We got to come up. So Elijah, where you at, brother?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
So when I was listening to you give the opening, I'm thinking in my head, decency. Example. I'm thinking examples. What is examples? What is an example? Like, what's the greatest example of decency? And what came to my mind was the greatest example of decency is men and women who follow the message of the black man in America, who strive hard to live by that book. The How to Eat to Lives 1 and 2, eating 1 meal a day. Like you've been pushing me and got me disciplined on eating 1 meal a day. You eat 1 meal a day, you start to think different. You start to adjust to your bad habits. You start to change, like, wait, hold on, I can't move like this. I can't be thinking, I can't be talking like this. I can't be, I can't be rotating around the earth like this. Something has to change. Your habits start to change. Then I thought, following the minister, Louis Farrakhan. Like we said 1,000 times before, you get on the internet, he has 1,000 lectures. You watch those lectures, he's teaching you how to live. He's teaching you how to be decent, a decent human being. What else came to my mind? And then Brother Lewis put up the book, We Must First Be Brothers, the 100 Principles. So teaching you how to be a brother, that's decency. Those are following those points, and the How to Eat to Live, the We Must First Be Brothers, following the minister, like he said, registering for the final call to stay up to date with good news from a good perspective that's not trying to hide anything from you. You get what I'm saying? And then the last thought that came to my mind was, how can we have decency if we're taught our morals and ethics from a man who doesn't have any decency or doesn't care about ethics, meaning the Caucasian man? We getting taught by them. They're teaching us everything. So how could we value decency, morals, and ethics when we're learning that from folks,
an unethical one?
Folks that that were living in the caves, that got knowledge and didn't use the knowledge for good, so there's a disconnect, but you start to realize that when you listen to the messenger and you listen to the minister, you start to realize, okay, I have to unlearn this nonsense. I have to go learn a new knowledge so I can be decent again.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's what I had. That's what came to my mind when you were giving
Man, I'm
out.
so proud of that, brother.
Very powerful, Neff. Really, and right on point. One thing I will lift right away is appetite. You mentioned How to Eat to Live, for instance, and it is how to eat to live. It's not just about diet and food. This really has a very strong spiritual aspect to it, because what it does is it teaches a man how to gain control over himself. We have been in a savage world, brothers. And I just can't see any of the brothers on this call. I feel like every one of you brothers, obviously, you're here because your consciousness is already high. I know we can agree that we live in a world that just drives us off of appetite. Eat, 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 consume, consume, consume. All lower nature, lower vibrational behavior. When someone keeps you on a low vibrational behavior, they keep you right above the grave. You see, now, even though there's life in sex, there's benefits in sex, but when it is manipulated and when it is overly promoted and you're hyper stimulated in an activity, then you're exceeding the limits. When you exceed the limits, now that which is intended for good can turn into something that is bad. It is the same with food. When you eat too much, you become gluttonous. You become greedy, and those behaviors is an exceeding of the limits. See, so what we're talking about is so important, because we have been made, and listen, brothers, this enemy has made us into savages. And that's what we have to really understand. And listen, you learned this, and many of you, I don't know if they taught you this, because they don't teach you hardly anything. nowadays in school. But one of the things that we learned, and I don't think they really calculated how it was going to benefit us in the long run, but that Africa was the first civilized nation, first civilized continent. You see, so how could we be the first civilized if we are the first civilized people? That means every civilized people had to model their ability or their behavior or standard of civilization after the original people. Not just Africa, not just the continent that's named after a conqueror, but the original man were the first civilized people on the planet. So you know the weapon that they're using against us today, brothers, is immorality. Keep you swinging by your balls. They used to hang us by our testicles, cut off our testicles. You better go read your damn history books. Then you'll stop running out here, going swimming with them and hanging out with them in the forest and going out thinking that they're your boys all of a sudden. I'm not saying that you may not have one or two that might be an exception to the rule. But when you go out with about 10, 15 of them, you better watch out because they have a nature that kicks in that you cannot turn off. And I heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach this very principle. You got to understand the nature of what you're dealing with. So you can't run from that. Some of us are trying to run from that in this time period because we want to soften everything up. But a man got to know who his enemy is. And once you know your enemy, that's another aspect of what will help you to avoid the pitfalls that cause you to move into immoral behavior. Look at the television programming. Every movie you watch, there's a sex scene. The sex scene doesn't start with, hey, honey, how are you? Hey, honey, how are you? Let's court. Let's get to know each other. No, the sex scene starts with this bravado, this save the day, save the princess narrative that really they've used over and over again systematically. The prince is in the queen in distress. But then what is the reward of rescuing her? He gets to bed her. See, this is, but he don't bed her with the constrict or the rule and the system of morality and decency. He just gets to bed her because of his great feat. You see, and this is what's happening over and over again. The enemy has normalized immorality. Look at what he's done to us because he knows that immorality weakens your like you said, Brother Lewis, your spiritual nature, but it weakens your immune system. It literally makes you weak. This is why we become so susceptible to disease today. Do you know it was a time that the white man's disease could not affect the black man? It would bounce off of us because we really are the real men and women of steel. We are the real supermen and women on earth. Do you know they had to break us down mentally and psychologically and morally in order for us to get so weak? Now we're susceptible to their codes and their viruses and their chicken pox, all of these disease, AIDS, and all of these diseases that the black man could just push out. We wouldn't even allow to take root in us. I know you don't believe like that because you've been taught to believe otherwise. And he who supplies the diameter of your thinking controls the circumference of your activity. We're not just quoting the black man as God. That is an actual fact. So process. I'm gonna read this: decency, because we're dealing with what is decency. And we got to answer that question, and we want to keep it moving right down the line. I see my dear beloved brother Tony on the call. We've been building on these subjects. We need to talk about this because, see, these are the things that's corrupting the brotherhood all around the world. Is this indecency, this abuse of women, this abuse of girls, these behaviors that we now accept because the enemy has made it fair seeming to us. You think it's normal for you to just go get with a woman, screw her, and then leave her. You don't realize that you are contributing to the destruction of your society when you are not a responsible man. If you take a woman, then you should take the leadership of that woman. You should take the leadership of that family. You're in charge, Brother Lewis stated earlier.
That's right.
You see? So that's what we're talking about. So what is decency, brothers? Decency is the quality of behaving. Listen at this. To your point, Elijah, behaving, somebody got to teach you, right? Speaking, dressing, and conducting oneself in a way that is respectful, modest, honorable, and considerate of others. It is inconsiderate, my dear sisters who are listening and who will listen in the future, for you to get your backside and put it on the screen in front of me, who scrolling
Right.
down a timeline, who want to be a good man. I ain't say I'm perfect. I ain't said I ain't made mistakes, because I made plenty of them before you start reaching for it. I'll spring it before you bring it. But the point I'm getting at is you make it difficult for me to be a moral and a decent man when that's how you represent yourself before us in the world. You allow yourself to be represented, and you think that that's sexy. You think that that's powerful because you can show your legs, and you're using the power that the enemy manipulated in you, your sexuality, which is a natural power, but the enemy is controlling it. You think you're liberated? You think you are independent and free? No, you are a damn slave being used by your enemy for the destruction of your own man and your destruction of your own children. Listen to what we said. It's modest, honorable, considerate, decency, behaviors that conform accepted standards of morality, modesty, respect, the quality of being proper, appropriate, and courteous. Modesty, avoiding unnecessary vulgarity or indecency. Respect, honoring the dignity, listen at this, of yourself and others. This is why I said in the beginning that you look at us, you can see the level of a man, look at his woman. Just look at our woman all over the damn internet, twerking, showing their legs, showing their backside, pushing sexuality. You know, I mean, this is the world we live in right now. And then we wonder why we got little boys growing up screwing their sisters. Did I come too hard on that one, brother? Did I come too hard? We wonder why we can't, why you got young boys that can't control, who are masturbating to the point where they can't even think straight. Did I say something wrong? You're pushing it in front of them all day, and then you want them, you dress in our woman dresses in ways and behaves in ways, and then we want you to just turn that off. Don't talk to me like that. Don't treat me like you're presenting yourself to stimulate the most primal nature in a man. Now, couple that with a joint, with some weed, couple that with some alcohol, couple that with some imbalance because the brother ain't never had no discipline in his life. Couple that with all that, and then you wonder how we're getting raped over and over and over again in the streets throughout this country. We're talking to you today, brothers, because this is about decency. And we got to dig into this subject, because guess who's responsible to make a change? I'm not saying we're the blame, because we know the enemy is at the root of it. But I am saying that when you wake up, God damn it,
responsibility.
we're responsible for it. We're responsible to change. Self-control. This is another part of decency. Governing your words, emotions, and actions. Courteous. Treating people with kindness and consideration. Integrity, doing what is right, even when no one is watching. That's powerful, right? That's powerful. Decency is often the visible expression of morality. The visible expression of morality. The visual expression of morality. Morality concerns what is right and wrong internally, while decency is how those moral principles are demonstrated in everyday life through speech, dress, conduct, relationships, and public behavior. Let all things be done decent and in order. 1 Corinthians 14 and 40 in the Bible. The Quran says, the Quranic repeats the call believers. The Quran repeatedly calls believers to modesty, righteousness, and honorable conduct. For example, indeed, Allah commands justice, excellence, and giving to relatives, and forbids immorality, bad conduct, and oppression. Holy Quran 16 and 90. But anyway, we're going to open it up, brothers. Any other brothers, we'd love to hear from you, hear your thoughts. Brother Jay, whenever you're ready, I know you're always ready. You stay ready, brother. We'd love to hear from you. And just hear your thoughts, brothers, on what you think, and how do you think would be an approach to addressing some of these issues in our community? How should we, brothers, what are your thoughts? Of course, we laid out a lot of thought here, but what are your thoughts on how we should aggressively address these issues? Go ahead, brother JS.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, beloved.
Little multitasking, so I apologize.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, everything you guys said so far been good. I like what you said early in the beginning, brother Michael, about and Lewis, about the morality. I was once told, and this is to your point, brother Lewis, we had structure back then.
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids now, the foundation, you can't really build on a broken foundation.
Come on.
You understand? So it's not to tease or pick on anybody. A lot of women, they have daddy issues.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the first. They say a daughter's first love is her father.
Yes.
So that how to mend a broken heart. That's what the minister said.
Yes.
So, and a lot of the men too. You know what I mean? They you grow up to become what you see and witness. A lot of men grow up in a house with single mothers gossiping on the phone all day.
Mm.
So you get a lot of BANs. I'll let you guys research that acronym on your own. You know what I'm saying? For the sake of this, peaceful call that we having. But I like something I heard earlier this week that brother 19 Keys said.
Yes.
And it made me think about what we're doing.
Yes.
But as well as this topic, he said social media is for money and messaging.
Mm.
Think about that to the men specifically.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be on TikTok. You shouldn't be on social media swinging your damn hips.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Doing all these dances, talking about you trying to go viral. You should be trying to build something.
Come on, brother.
You know what I mean? You being performative. And not only you being performative, you're not being a bad leader. You're not leading at all.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So he said social media is for money and messaging.
Mm.
Then he said the messaging then becomes narrative warfare.
Mm.
Now think about your algorithm. That's all that's on your algorithm. You know what I'm saying? With a woman telling you what you need to be and should be and not as a man. And men arguing, like just sitting up here playing games. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Going back and forth. Nobody's really building. Like you said, brother Michael, you have to ask yourself some of these things. It's not about a pissing contest of who's right. Is the woman right or the man right? You got to ask yourself, am I okay with, wasting this woman's time and my time and abusing my body? You know what I mean? By, just having a night of pleasure or a couple hours of pleasure, you got to really check yourself.
Yes.
Respectfully. And I don't mean this in a cocky or egotistical way. I don't care what a woman say about me.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I am who I am. You do what you are. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, you can move around respectfully.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's enough loving out here for everybody.
That's
right. I mean?
So
you may
that's
be able
right.
You may
I'm in agreement.
Find a guy that's, he could go to work and just give you his money like grandfather did back in 1987. And that may work for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like you may not be a good person, good with your finances or what may have you. You may not be a critical thinker, to come up with, date ideas or like you said, brother Lewis, courting. You know what I mean? So you may just got to surrender that, if you will, to her. I'm just not going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But with that being said, I'm saying all that to say you got to know who you are, man. And you really, this is from personal experience. You know who you are and you find out who you are in your darkest, lonely nights. You know what I mean? When you feel like, the world just don't understand you or that, something just not clicking. That's where, in my personal experience, a man begin to get made or broken. And I just sent something to my brother Tyron on here, and everybody should check it out. It's a great listen. It's by the minister. It's called The Origin of Disappointment.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? And he said on there, everything you do after you're met with disappointment begins to define your character. You know what I'm saying? So the moment,
say that again, brother Jay. Say that one again. That's powerful.
He said, one moment.
Wow. Brother Tony, this sounds
He said-
awfully familiar, brother. Go ahead.
He said the moment. He said what you do after you're met and faced with disappointment begins to define your character.
That's
You
right.
know, so you get so many guys out here, like I said, in these competition with women, you know, being reactive instead of proactive. You know what I'm saying? Like you got, and this is the number one thing for men, you know, and this is a great topic because I'm learning, you know, what you guys saying,
Praise
because, you know, my thing is like I said before, all skin folk ain't kin folk,
that's right.
but it do take a village and a community to build. And my thing is, you know, if a person not really on what I'm on, you know, I'm kind of quick to leave. And
Absolutely.
that can be good or bad because sometimes you need to teach, right? But
yes.
and other times, like you said, you have to, you know, you got to be the example you want to see. So you can't be telling, you know, Brother Elijah what he need to be doing, but you sneaking and geeking on your wife.
That's
Come on, brother. Come on.
Because after a certain point in time, people stop listening to what you say and they start, you know, paying attention to what you do.
Teach.
I mean, like I was saying last week, where the demonstration got to speak louder than the conversation.
That's right.
You know, so if at any point, it's on us as the men, as the leaders,
Yes.
to, you know, be the change we want to see, to self-reflect. You know what I'm saying? And say, because like the women, and if any women are on here, you know, listening to this playback, don't take this the wrong way. You know, I never want to paint a group or a community with one brush.
That's right.
But most women, especially in this day and age, they're very impressionable people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, men too, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But women, this soft life and all this stuff, it's nothing wrong with that. But they don't really see how they allow themselves to be exploited.
That's
Their
right.
character be, you know, redefined, if you will, by this obsession of this narrative that social media is pushing, that a woman is supposed to just be pretty, you know, and do nothing, you know, just find a brother that's got it going on in life and just, you know, spend all his money vacationing. You know, that's your job. You know what I'm saying? Or buying clothes. And I call it the lifestyle of the broken famous.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Because
and give them a little bit, right?
Yeah, you know, but you got to ask yourself two things. What type of woman does that make me? And what type of man is willing to, you know, essentially trick off his money with no return on the investment? You know what I'm saying? See, a weak nigga, the return on the investment is some cheeks real quick.
Come on.
You know, where a man needs somebody to build with. And if I'm going to drop the link in here, I want all you brothers to check it out. You know, Brother Lewis did something on his land, very inspirational, alongside his wife.
Yes.
You know, following suit. And that's a power dynamic. Now, I may be a little biased because that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, but that's what unity looked like.
That's what it looked like.
You know what I mean? Not just, you know, I'm going to just sit here, be pretty, and, you know, this nigga could slave away. You know, and excuse my language. I'm more so talking to the young brothers.
Talk real, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
You all right?
Yeah, I got to be direct. You know what I mean? Because,
language.
You know, two things you don't need. You don't need to be slaving away for your money and giving it away to a woman or a corporation that don't support you and yours. That's number one. And number two, you don't need to be, you know, loose. Like Brother Michael was saying, just, you know, making babies all over the place because, you know, you're hurting yourself and your net worth.
Yes.
You know, and if you don't know what a net worth is or how to determine it, you know, you take, you know, what you make reoccurring and deduct that from your overhead and expenses. And, you know, in this secure the bag culture that we in, child support has become a regular expense.
Yes, sir.
You know, so think about that. You know what I'm saying? Before you just moving all willy-nilly, you know, you got to protect what you're building. You know, and that starts with great decision making.
Yes.
So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. And this is a great topic. Like I said, it has my mind racing because I'm doing self-reflection.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, am I being the best that I can be for myself, but not only myself, but my community as well.
Yes.
So powerful.
Powerful, Brother Jay. And that's why I know this is a divine providence, because just how Allah is just bringing brothers. And when I say that, I say it emphatically, brothers together, because what you just said was brotherly in the most beautiful and powerful way, all the way to the button at the very end in terms of yourself, because that's what we all should be doing. That's what I'm doing. I'm in self-reflection, and you just said so much, and so just really in a very sweet
He did. He really did.
it was just so well put together. And I am being biased because you're my brother, and I'm telling the truth though, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just what we need. This is what's in every Black man. We gotta unlock what's in each and every one of us, because we need it, brother. We're all interdependent. But when you were speaking, when you were talking about the dynamic, you mentioned Brother 19 Keys and the narrative, controlling the narrative. We have to pay close attention to that language as a people. We have to understand, and that's why I made the comment or the quote from the minister early on when he said, "He who supplies the diameter of your thinking controls the circumference of your activity." You see, so if you look at our behavior, you can see what we're eating. Just like if you look at some physically, you can see that they're not eating or taking care of themselves very well. You can see in our behavior that we're not eating the right food spiritually, and it's causing us to act other than ourself. And and so it's something very powerful to be said about that, controlling you. And you're in, you record narratives and present those narratives, Brother Jay, in your craft, like I, as a photographer, we record history. We're locking it down. We were locking down the moment, to capture a moment, to record a moment is a powerful thing. And you can now articulate that moment. You can share that moment. That moment is packageable. Well, so when you think about what we're up against with today's technology, it has its benefits. I was at the dinner table with the minister one time, and we in this subject was on the table because one of the brothers said, dear minister, they on the internet, they doing this and they doing that, because we done lost everything. We done lost control in a sense, right? The minister said, there's nothing wrong with the internet. He said, it's how you use it. It's how you use the tool. And that's one of the approaches, even in what we're doing, what we must first be brothers, and why this is so important. Why it's so important that all brothers everywhere adopt the language of brotherhood everywhere and understand the principles of brotherhood everywhere, so that we can aggressively change the narrative. Because guess what, or not guess what, understand with clarity, with decisiveness, brother, that our thinking is what controls everything. Process this with me. I was listening to Dr. Ava drop something so profound. She said that the white man cannot he can't process anything. He can't make anything happen. He has to use the processor in the Black man in order to produce or process the information that he wants to put forward. He has to use us. He is using your mind, your ability, your brain, your thinking, your mindset to create the kind of environment that he wants to create in our world. He wants us to live a certain way, behave a certain way, think a certain way. So he feeds us through his algorithms, through the control and manipulation of algorithms, what he wants us to eat. This is in our lessons. It was in our lessons. Why do we fear now since we're big men? Because he taught us to eat the wrong food. And that's why we fear now as big men. We're living other than ourselves, bro. I'm so excited to just, and pardon my expression, but I'm just trying to hopefully inspire that we get some testicles, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see the Black man with his balls back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't mean that to be vulgar. I'm not being vulgar, but I mean it, like you said, Brother Jay, I'm trying to speak the language for some of our brothers that might tune in, but and grasp is we have to get some testicular fortitude. We have to get courage again, brothers, you know, and stand on principles again and call it for what it is. And again, like I said, we got to stop being controlled by our lower nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, we call that a simp, brother, Jay. When a man go and he, first of all, he buying the beauty of a woman, the attention of a woman. We call that a simp. You don't, no. If I can't develop a relationship with you based on the quality of my character and my morality and my leadership, then damn it, I don't need to go buy you. I understand that I got to pay. You know, that's just the nature of being a man. You know, I understand that we have a responsibility, Brother Lewis. You know, we got to take the responsibility. That's just what comes with it, but not in the arrangement that the enemy has now manipulated into our social fabric and our relationship dynamics. This is causing the indecency. And this is why women, and I'm coming to you, Brother Carlton, but this is why our women are going over to places like Dubai and letting rich Arabs urinate and defecate on them. Some of these sisters on social media. These are what's happening, you know, on social media, to go over and get a $50,000 payoff for these people to mock and berate you in such a way. This has happened. I'm not making this up. This has happened. Or now you on OnlyFans, and you on OnlyFans parading your body because money has become the vital standard. And not righteous morality and goodness. Money is the standard. And most of you ending up alone. Even brothers are ending up alone. Today, I was talking to my son. He said, Dad, you know, he talking about their generation. He said, Dad, it's hard for us to have relationships today because nobody trusts anybody. He said,
wow.
You could be over there doing her thing, you know, and he over here busting his move. Nobody's moving in a way where there is integrity and good character. This is the order of the day when it comes to what's happening with Black people. So how do we get to generational wealth? How do we get to wealth, period? I'm not going to be successful without a good woman with me. I'm not going to make the kind of, I may make money. You can make money, don't get me wrong, but to really get level up the way we need to level up, you have to have the agency of a woman, brother. Don't let nobody fool you, brother. Don't let nobody tell you that you can do this without a female, because they're telling you a lie. You got to have the woman because she is in the most significant creation of God in helping us to become what we need to become, and she to become what she need to become. You know, that's essential for a man in development. Brother Carlton. And then we moving fast because, you know, I want to consider my brothers on the East Coast. Brother Jay got some soldiers on here, you know, and we talking about this. So we want to, you know, kind of start tailoring these things and trying to, you know, we want to structure this a little bit where we can make sure that brothers who are deeply enthralled in this conversation and it's hard for them to pull away, you know, we can time it where every brother can get what they need to get out of it, and then go on and get them some rest and be able to go to work the next day, take care of themselves and their families, you know. But it is important. We're building these subjects, and we want to go deep. Brother Carlton.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, my brother.
I'm sorry, I got on kind of late, so I was running around in the street. So I apologize, brother.
No problem.
I just wanted to apologize because I take this seriously. That's why.
Man,
I want you all to know that, you know, when you take it seriously and you're late, you should apologize. You should tell the brothers, hey, look, man, I'm not disrespecting this. I respect it. You know, I love what's going on. These young brothers right here, man, I tell you, they got it going on. You know what I mean? They got it going on. I think Brother Elijah said something that I always say, and I always tell my children, and that is the message to the Black man. He mentioned that we have to live that. You know what I mean? Yeah. If we have to live the message, it's a whole lot of things that the messenger did and wrote, but that one right there is the most paramount book, along with How to Eat to Live. Now, there's other programs on fasting, prayer, and things of that nature. But the Elijah Muhammad, I believe, was taught by Allah and the person, the Master Fard Muhammad, about how to eat to live. Right. And he told us to eat one meal a day, or we eat one meal every other day, you won't get sick. He had the balance. He has the balance. I'm not saying you shouldn't fast 30 days if you want, but I'm just saying he has the balance on how to eat to live, okay? So you can do other extraordinary things with it, but he had the balance on it. And I think that the brother, I think the brother Elijah said that it causes you to have a certain mind, the way you think. You know what I mean? Especially specifically when you're studying how to live as the messenger wrote it, because after you get finished doing it, you have to be able to be productive, and you have to be able to your mental attitude has to change, because
Yeah.
one of the brothers also mentioned disappointment. You know what I mean? We have a lot of disappointment that goes on in our community with our organizations or whatever, in our relationships. And you have to be able to rise above that particular situation in order to be the God that we're supposed to be. You know what I mean? We have to rise above emotion. That's what that
Yes.
means. So if we're disappointed or dissatisfied, yes, it's going to be that. But there's a cure for that. The cure is how to live, and the cure is making that change.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The Holy Quran speaks about a condition, us being in a condition, and we are the only ones that can change our condition.
That's right.
You can only, you're the main person that can change your mind. What
That's
that
right.
means to me is that the God is in you to change you. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And to make the change that you need around you.
That's right.
Our women are doing the things that they're doing on social media and things like that because they're getting a lot of likes. We haven't gotten into the mind of us to take away those likes or to change her mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we haven't provided her with a better environment. That's the truth. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that includes our sisters, because I see a lot of our sisters on there, but they're presenting themselves in a positive way. But how can we project that? I mean, how can we show that these sisters are out here being modest and actually striving to be MGT or women of higher standing? You know what I mean? How can we promote that without being, disrespectful or whatever? But I'm saying I would love to see us do more of that. I would love to see the sisters show themselves, being in that modest woman. Anyway, I'm not going to take long. I just wanted to see the brothers and let y'all know that, you know what I mean? I appreciate this group. And
Appreciate you, brother Carlton, and I appreciate. Yeah.
yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let other brothers talk.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, brother Carlton, and appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your consideration and your being considerate as a brother. Because that is a quality, a real beautiful quality of a brother, is to be considerate of another brother and be considerate of his brothers. We got to get to a place of high civilization again as Black men, and it starts with how we treat one another. Brother Lewis, go ahead, brother.
Brother Carlton kind of triggered something, and also with what you were saying, Brother Michael. I want to raise another question. How can we heal?
Mm-hmm.
How can we be made whole? And
Right.
and the thing of it is that nephew mentioned something, and so did Brother Carlton. He mentioned that book, Message to the Black Man. See, it all begins with truth and being convicted enough to believe and practice truth. You can be so involved in indecency and not even know it. Do you realize that?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that a hog actually is a cat and a rat and a dog, a grafted animal, and that it was never intended for human consumption. I didn't know that as a little boy growing up, and I went to church, but they didn't teach that in the church that I went to. You understand what I'm saying, Brother Michael?
Yes, sir.
So many of our people are suffering from high blood pressure and diabetes and all sorts of diseases. And medicine is a business. Doctors want to make money,
Yes.
And so they don't have a thorough knowledge of how to eat decent. That was the value of these teachings.
Right.
They really reorientate you in a manner to civilize you. I I hear a lot of sisters now, I don't hear them. If I hear them, I try to correct them. They call themselves the B word. When I was a little boy growing up, a black woman would fight you behind the B word. You didn't call no black woman the B word. But now they call themselves the B word because they become so desensitized into their appetite, their lower appetite, they don't see nothing wrong with that. And so the minister said, we need more mentors and teachers in the black community. And the thing of it is that our people, we really have to clean up ourselves and clean up our community. Like most of our women don't experience a decent man. They experience males. I mean, even animals have sex, they reproduce. But to experience a decent conversation out of a decent man who really wants a woman for the purpose of helping him to fulfill his purpose that God gave, but fulfill a vision. You know, God's promised that the last would be first and that he would take us off the bottom and put us on top. You can't take anybody off the bottom and put them on top without knowledge, wisdom, understanding, so that they could use their power not to inflict pain, but to serve. So it's a lot. How do we heal? You know, prayer. What should we pray for? That anxiety prayer during this stressful time. Oh Allah, I seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. I seek thy refuge from lack of strength, from laziness. I seek thy refuge from cowardice, from niggardliness. I seek thy refuge from debt. Debt.
Being overpowered
and the
by
oppression of men.
Yes.
O Allah, suffice thou me with what is lawful. Keep me away from what is prohibited, and with thy grace, make me free from want, from desire of what is other than thee.
Come on.
See, this Ava Muhammad taught us, beautiful black woman, teacher, mentor, friend, companion, my personal friend. She taught us that prayer and meditation, proper meditation, do to the mind and spirit what a bath does to the body. How often should you take a bath to cleanse your physical body? How do you purify your mind? How do you take the filthy and licentious images that all of us have, because we're bombarded with it every day? How do we cleanse the mind? What comes out of your mouth is what is in your mind. You're comfortable with having an indecent conversation, even with the brothers. Like as long as we've been knowing each other, Brother Michael, I've never known me and you to sit down. I've never heard you have an indecent conversation with me. You see, the minister, and we talk a lot. We got a lot to say because the minister gave us so much to say, we don't even need notes. However, it's not an indecent conversation. And look at this. We're talking about healing, Brother Michael. Yes. And as Mr. Bill Allen would say it, the solutions. The Muslims are taught the practice of getting up early in the morning before the mind is full of toxins, where your portals are open, and to make prayer and to do rakats and salat. Have prayer early in the morning. Pray with your family. Teach your sons how to pray. Every man should know how to pray or meditate or cleanse. Help to purify our women. Our women are loaded with pain and anxiety and all sorts of things because they've been bumped around in this society. Don't give applause to women who take their clothes off and twerk. See, some of them would stop twerking if we wouldn't give them the attention and the money.
Right. Let me jump in there on you, Brother Lewis, because you really hitting some points, you know, and just to keep it moving, you know, as we navigate this ship, you know, you hit some points about not paying attention to it, by not giving our attention to it as men, you know, and I think that's one of the crucial takeaway solutions to what we have to start doing as men. You got to stop liking it, brother. Stop clicking on it. The black man, we need to start a whole movement. Stop the click. Stop the click. Stop the click. Stop the click. We don't click on these foolish behaviors. We need to change the standard and have a movement, not an anti-woman movement, not an anti-decent woman movement or an anti-decent brother movement. Anything that is indecent, we need to stop validating what is indecent and rewarding it, because this is what the enemy is doing in how he's manipulating so many people. So you go viral, as I pointed out earlier, you go viral for being as low and filthy and as indecent as you possibly can. You go viral for killing somebody. You go viral for fighting in the street. You got young people, they got these fight videos out, you know, and I have to be honest, because I'm a fighter. So I find myself, I say, damn, they out here fighting in the street, and I watch the fight to see how God forgive me, but I'm being honest, you know. And we have to be wise enough to pay attention to what's happening, because in my one mind telling me this is so destructive. I know it's destructive, you know, and then the other mind, you know, of course, I'm strategizing because I know we live in a hostile environment. But to the point, the more we feed this monster, the more it grows. He's using our attention. So look, I just want to read this as we keep it rolling here real quick. It says dopamine, because this is what's happening to our people. We are addicted to indecency, Brother Lewis. You know, we are addicted to corruption and filth, you know, and Brother Tony, you know what I'm saying? And so what's happening is the enemy he makes us feel like it's okay. So look, dopamine, just for us to know and to be educated, because I want you to have some good takeaways from our conversations tonight. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a key role in motivation. Look at what he's doing to us, Brother Jay. You mentioned this narrative piece: reward, learning, and reinforcing behaviors. Social media likes activate the brain's reward system. Dopamine encourages us to repeat behaviors. Listen at this, that the brain associates with rewards. Likes create a cycle of seeking external validation. One lecture that I would recommend we all study, and in addition to what Brother Jay pointed out, which was the origin of disappointment, which is a profound message in that. Brother Tony and I think we were talking about it this week, the other day, but that is a profound message in that and of itself. But validation in God. See, listen, the enemy has made us look for validation in everything outside of ourselves. Validation in God. So we have literally, this is why the book calls it America the Great Harlot. Oh, my Lord. Right. She's That's a right, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it 100, man. She's the biggest hoe you ever want to meet. You see, and everybody that controls and manipulates her, and pardon the expression, you know, because I'm trying to be decent, but some of the language is just what it is, you know. But she has made everyone in her prostitutes. This is what we're talking about. You're trading intimacy for money. You're trading companionship for money. Everything is buy and sell and go to the marketplace. So the validation piece is where our young people have been caught up. Is where some of us have been caught up, because nobody ever paid you any attention. Nobody ever liked you. Nobody, you know, you were alone. And then now the fact that we on social media, relationships where we used to get together and spend time together, Brother Lewis, as you've been pointing out over and over again, how we need to come together and get a closer proximity. We need to break bread together, look at each other, feel each other's pulse, and know that each other are real. That breeds some power in us when we operate on that basis, you know. But because we're lonely, loneliness has now also become a place where we are uncomfortable, so we're seeking attention in whatever way we can. So it says here, I'm gonna read this on a little bit more because I think it's important just to point this out, because we got to understand what's driving these things. We're talking about the algorithm. We got to study what's driving our behavior. A man got to study himself. He got to study what's going on. And one thing the minister said, he said that environment is stronger than heredity. So we got to study the environment. The Bible say born in sin and shaped
in iniquity.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to study this so that we can know what we're fighting. I remember and Brother Lewis, I remember early on, we used to start talking about the devil. Y'all talked about Bible school and what we went through. I remember we used to learn about the devil, and I'd be like, how do you fight the devil?
Oh, you got to fight him, brother.
I didn't know when we was coming up, Brother Lewis, how to fight the devil. So I used to hear the preachers them talking about, you got to fight the devil. I didn't know what he meant. I know what he means now. It ain't just your common every day. We're talking about Caucasians, little people. We're talking about systematic
principalities and
spiritual darkness. When somebody pulling and titillating your desires and playing and on your psyche and trying to seduce you. Come on over here to Burger King and get this murder sandwich over here. Come on over here to McDonald's and eat this fake food. And you know it ain't real. You know these fries ain't real. You know this stuff ain't real. You're going to go over there and eat it anyway to satisfy a temporary feeling in your gut, but poison in your body and your being in a long range. So anyway, the unpredictable nature of likes makes social media especially habit forming. Young people are particularly vulnerable because their reward system mature before the parts of the brain responsible for self-control. Over reliance on likes can contribute to anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, poor sleep, and compulsive social use. When self-worth is tied to likes, people begin to value online approval over real character and purpose. My goodness. True confidence is built through discipline, meaningful relationships, service, and personal growth, not validation. Brother Tony, I think I seen you over there cooking a little bit. I don't know if the pot ready to come off the top ready to come off the pot, brother, but we'd love to hear from you. I want to keep this thing moving as much as we possibly can. But you ready to rotate?
Brother Hoyle
put his hand up. His hand up over there. Okay, Brother Hoyle.
I'll swing in after him.
That's all right, brother.
Thank you, Brother Tony, for recognizing that. Brother Hoyle, what's going on? I saw you come in, brother.
Let brother Tony cook. Let the brother Tony. I'm gonna come on right behind him. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Brother Tony. Brother Tony, he know what he's doing. You go ahead, Brother Hoyle. We appreciate you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Yeah, I'm good to hear the brothers. I'm at work, so I got to get back up, but I had to call in and chat with my brothers right quick. This is a beautiful topic on social media. The devil is working 100%, 24/7, 365, brothers. And, we've been talking as brothers that we ain't going to come by a word, we're going to come by a whipping. Now, brothers, did you see the floods? They got smoke taking over these northern cities, Chicago, D.C., Detroit, Michigan. They're under smoke from forest fires in Canada, floods in Texas. Brother, these are the whippings that are going to come. We talk about social media and the algorithm because they're working to keep our mind on that low vibration. Here it is. They spend thousands of dollars. We talked about it before to put up these rappers, Sexy Red, Glorilla, and all these, they're beautiful sisters, but they're on a low vibration madness. You got the young brothers, they call them YNs. We don't call our brother no YNs. And this is a destructive behavior. We have the phone when they're fighting. You see fighting on Beale Street, shooting. Okay, I was telling Brother Lewis the other day, Brother Michael, if you go down here, it's a black area in Memphis called Orange Mountain. They're getting ready for something now. And a white boy told another brother in the nation, they're getting ready to make a move on the black community. If you go in this area called Orange Mound, which is predominantly black, you notice the National Guard are set up like in every other block. They're in these little small vans. Trump sent the National Guard here. Brothers, do you know they have killed 8 black men? They're protesting. They're having a protest right now. They shot a young brother, 20 years old. They've killed 8 black men, the National Guard, already here in Memphis, Tennessee. Just to let the listening audience know.
Wow.
8 black men. They shot a young brother. They say he had a gun, but he didn't have a gun.
Right.
Now, this is the job for the police. I mean, when is the National Guard supposed to be? We're not citizens. They say, you know, we're mockingly citizens, but American citizens. You know, so I'm just bringing out all these things that are happening, and you know, the National Guard is really everywhere. You know, and they're getting ready to make a move. But as this war cranks up, and we were having a meeting the other day, and you know, Brother Ishmael was saying, you know, this thing is gonna crank up before the minister leaves. You know, so this is a powerful topic for our unity, and
Yes.
we're gonna be forced to unify. You know, social media right now is just keeping our people into this low vibration fighting mode, arguing. You know, we're not talking about building. You know, like Brother Lewis said, Brother Michael said, social media is good if you use it the right way. But right now, you know, it's used for destruction. Everything you look on there is fighting, it's sex, it's degrading, talking about one another.
Absolutely, brother.
Black male, female fight, you know, homosexuality, all of this stuff, sport and play. Nothing about building, nothing about, you know, us coming together, buying land, you know, unification. You know, it's always something negative. But like I said, the attack is on this black man or woman in America. We don't see it. Like I said, we're in how it was an old saying, say, we're at war, but we think we're in a big playground. But I'm gonna read this and let you go. This is the calamity by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It says the title of this chapter is taken from the Holy Quran, chapter 101, 1-4, the calamity. What is the calamity? And what will make thee know how horrible the calamity? In the English language, according to Webster's Dictionary, the word calamity means a state of deep distress or misery caused by major misfortune or loss, or great event marked by great loss and lasting distress and affliction. Such calamity is now prevailing in America. It is getting worse daily. Now, you know, this is in the latest Final Call, and you know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's article is on page 19. And, you know, Sister Ava said that every article that comes out in the Final Call is right on time with what's going on, you know, in this dispensation. So why would this latest Final Call, Brother Mike and Brother Lewis and the brothers, say the calamity?
Yes.
It says the calamity. So we got to get prepared. But as we talk about decency, this is an attack. This is to make us stay in a low vibrational state. And we're going to have to, one more thing, and Brother Tiam said this about social media. He said, the minister said the criterion, the standard, the way, the measure, and the blueprint by which we can be successful in utilizing social media is the Minister Farrakhan and his teachings. This is the highest form of vibration. And what we're doing with We Must Be Brothers. In any form of righteousness through our Black brotherhood and unification and coming together, we got to set the standards, brother. And once we come together and just be the example, that's the best thing. And this show is an example. This show is an example, beautiful example.
Brother Hoyle.
So,
And I appreciate you, Brother Hoyle. And
yes,
always, I was so happy to
right?
see you. I was so happy to see you pop in there, brother. You know,
yes, sir, brother. I'll be at work.
and,
Last week I was at work
you
and
know,
I couldn't get in. So I said, well, what little time I got before I head back down the road, I'm gonna get in there some way. But inshallah, I'll be glad to see you brothers on the 30th
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Going down there to be with our brother Louis Ali in the
Yeah,
South.
Louis
That brother,
Ali down there.
that beautiful black man in the South, brother Louis Ali.
Yes,
We finna go
sir.
down there. We finna go to throw that dirt, go put our feet on that dirt and
Yes,
test that
right.
soil down there with our brother. I'm looking
Yes,
forward
sir.
to it. You know, so praise be to Allah for that. I want to go down the list, brother Tony. I'm gonna pause you for 1 second, brother Tyrone. Would you like to say something, brother? And then I'm gonna just ask the brothers that haven't said anything, and then I want to come back to brother Tony and then brother Louis, because I definitely want you to kind of build on this thing or share with us, brother Louis. One, I really want to put a question out there, but it's something for us to think about. You know what I'm saying? Just as we get ready to, dismiss ourselves, from tonight. But I just want to kind of put thoughts out there because, brothers, listen, we got to have strong takeaways. We're not here to gab. We're here to, drop knowledge and share light, but we're here to be activated by the light. You see, that's why we started on that subject of light, because light is what moves object, is what Allah created in the universe, and it's what's moving everything. In fact, we are beings of light. You see, so we have to be activated and inspired by light and wisdom, brothers. So we're not on here to play games. I can't emphasize that enough. The core of us that are developing now, I believe 1000%. Let me go a bit further. I know we have the tools to sustain our brotherhood. A brother asked me today, he said, bro, how do you stop it from turning into what it was before? I said, because we keeping the light. We keeping the light in front. The light is the principles. As long as you keep the light of the principles out, anytime somebody wants to violate or step outside, he gonna show up. He gonna show up, and then we just get rid of him, or help him to heal if you want to heal in a line. But we got to build, brother. And guess what, brothers? It's not impossible. Don't let anybody plant the seed in your head that it is impossible for us to have absolute and complete unity. What is your proof, brother Michael? What is the proof of that? We did it in the beginning. That's how we got here, brother. It was unity that got us here. It was unity that put the sun, the moon, and the stars out there. It was unity, brother. You see, and that same unity, we're on our way back to that unity and that power as we speak. I believe that. And we have to do it in an accelerated form as this thing is wrapping up, brother Will, as you pointed that out. So, brother Tyrone, we'd love to hear from you, brother. And then we're going down to other Zoom user that don't have a name, brother Tyrone. If you'd like to say something, brother.
Good evening, brothers.
Good evening, brother.
First of all, I want to say it's an honor to just be on a flower. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I get a little nervous talking, on these panels, man.
No pressure, Ty.
I just want to say it's an honor to be a fly on the wall, just to hear this much knowledge and hear that, all of us, we're on the same page, like we want better for our people. Yeah. So that's a blessing alone. And I'm just thankful to be a part of this. So many ways to skin a cat, man.
Yes, sir.
I don't even know where to start. We have to look in the mirror. We have to be what we want to see, in my opinion. But along with that, we have to move with discernment, because there's some crazy jokers out here. And, so we just have to be smart, continue being smart. And I'm pretty sure everyone on this phone call move in that manner, being what you want to see, basically. You seeing any, with the youngins, they may be doing something that you like, come here, brother, let me talk to you. That's not how we supposed to do it.
That's right.
Especially as, a young man that's going to be a grown man one day.
Yes.
So I'll just keep it brief right there, man. But like I said, it's an honor to be on this phone call and soaking up so much game and so much knowledge, man. Thank you all.
Thank you, brother Tyrone. And you definitely added to that pot, brother, because you're 100% right. Especially when it comes to what we depart with our younger brothers. We got to plant seeds, and it's I'm just telling you, man, when something is divinely orchestrated, brothers, all we have to do is open our heart and vibrate together. Just open ourselves up. The unity of brotherhood is something so powerful, so cataclysmic. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said our unity is more powerful than any nuclear or atomic bomb, brother. We dropping bombs. What you just dropped in the little short word was a bomb for the listener, for the brother who paying attention. because that's a strategic activity. We have to go directly at the younger brother, man. We got it, really, brother. I made it in my mind. I was telling my nephew, I'm intentionally trying to get me 10, 20 young brothers. I don't care if they're 8, 9, 10 years old. I need to get them under and around me so I can depart and plant these seeds and put this wisdom or whatever God put through my heart in these young brothers, man. We're obligated to do that in a careful and a strategic way, as you pointed out, Brother Tyrone. You know, so I 100% approve that. Well, I was gonna say approve that message. You know, agree with what you're saying, my brother. Brother Zoom user, we don't have a name there, but we love to hear from you. Introduce yourself.
Okay.
If not, we're gonna go right on to Brother Trey.
And Brother Trey.
Push that.
What's going on, brothers?
You got it, Brother Trey. Was you on earlier? Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Brother Trey, let me tell you, Brother Trey was punctual. Brother Trey was 35 minutes ahead of time. I said, brother, I jumped on the call just to check out the tech. Brother Trey was on here. I love it. So I just gotta give it up to that soldier that pops out first and ready to fire off, brother. Welcome, Brother Trey. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. No, I was listening heavy tonight, and back when y'all was talking about like the morality of things, I worked with kids with behavioral issues and the disabilities and things like that, autism. And every day when I go to schools, when I go to work, a lot of these kids, they say some wild things. They say some wild things, and I try to tell them, while it's people, you know, y'all listen to a lot of the music, y'all online a lot. They glorify a lot of the things on the internet. And I try to tell them, and it's no, well, it's a lot to really low-key brag about, but I'll be 29 in September. I've never touched a jail cell. I've never done anything like illegal for me to get my money. And I've always just been a stand-up guy. And when I try to tell them that, it's like they kind of laugh about it, or they be like, oh, no, you just a square. And I'm like, yeah, a square that ain't never had to do nothing crazy. And
that's right.
It's a lot to stand on about that, because a lot of these kids and a lot of these older adults, they'll be the ones to brag about, you know, I've been to jail and I've done this and I've done that. And it's like, that's nothing to brag about, good brother. You get what I'm saying? Yes. And like when we was talking about the last conversation last Thursday, you got Rock who rocking with you.
Yes.
If they really want to be a part, if they really want to stand out, you got to be the one that's willing to be different. You get what I'm saying? It's like you can't be the one that want to blend in with the crowd. You want to be young. You 35. Why you trying to act like, you feel what I'm saying? You 25. That's not benefiting you. You talking about, oh, well, you know, she old enough, and it's like, nah, brother, that's weird. You get what I'm saying? It's like
right
that we can really talk about. We not even on the same thinking field. Like, you okay with thinking like that? And like I said, I'll be 29 in September. I've never been okay with that, especially because up until the age of 7, I was just getting a father figure in my life. So like Brother Jay was talking about earlier, a lot of these kids were raised with single moms and they have feminine mannerisms and things like that. But like I try to tell a lot of people, I'm grateful that my father came in my life at the time that he did. Yes. I could have been one of them ones.
Yes.
I could have been one of them ones.
So powerful.
My father, he from the South. He from South Carolina. He didn't play that. He never played that. He always played like, you know, you show up with manners. You know what I'm saying? He always made sure I was dressed properly for school. Stuff like and so when you instill those mannerisms in your son specifically,
exactly,
it stands out a lot different. So like I was saying, when you don't run across those people who think like you, move like you, just gotta move around them. You got rocking with you.
That's right, brother. That's right.
That's right. allowing me to talk. You know, I'm just now getting used to talking a lot. But I'm definitely being here every Thursday, punctual, good brother. You get what I'm saying?
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. And I'm gonna tell you, yes, I'm gonna tell you, brother Trey, your voice is strong, brother. And I'm looking forward to hearing it more and more, brother, because you know, like I said, the black man got something to say. And when you already moving in a certain way, what you have to say materializes, you know, and that's what that First John talks about. In the beginning was the word, and the word was, and the word then became. See, so the more we got brothers building on science and expressing these principles that you just dropped, even about your father and even the principle of how we unify and who you run with and what you glorify. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I speak on where I come from, but I my greatest attribute is that I came from it, not that I'm in it anymore. You know what I'm saying? That's my greatest attribute. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can say you a street ninja. Yeah, I was a street ninja, but I used to be a street ninja because the elevation showed that no one wants to stay in a condition that's counterproductive to life, man. So and then today, like you said, I'm surrounding myself with brothers who got light in the principles in the book, the principles that we have. I say some stars are brighter than others. You see what I'm saying? Some stars are bright. Some brothers have more light than others. Brother, you should not be intimidated by a brother who may have more light and who have wisdom than you. What you should do is be thankful that you have the opportunity and the blessing to be able to sit and vast in that light with your brother. This is the mind that we have to start taking on. We got to take on another mind, brother. You see, so when you understand that the black man, and I'm gonna say this again and again, this is not theological this is the truth, bro. This is like as true as you can't get more actual fact than what I'm saying here. The black man is God. And when you understand that in us, in each of us, there is an aspect of the nature of the original and the all-powerful and all-wise God. We have to learn how to seek that in each other, brother. Learn how to pull on that. I hope you feel when you come amongst us here on We Must First Be Brother, I hope you're feeling brotherhood. Oh, yes. I hope you're feeling that you're accepted, man. I'll get down where you come from. Hope you know that you're valued, man. You see what I'm saying? That we looking up to you. We looking at you. You see what I'm saying? And if you down, we hopefully we can pull you up, bro. You see what I'm saying? Because that's our assignment and our responsibility beyond just a bunch of, words, but it should be emanated. It should be actualized in everything that we do, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm excited about. So thank you, brother Trey. Appreciate your comment, brother. And appreciate your commitment to grow with us, brother, because we're growing here. We're growing and we want to see leaders, man. We got, we already, brother Jay is already permanent. You know what I'm saying? Brother Jay been dropping bombs for as long as we've been on the air, as long as we've been going. So we building, brother. And we need to get more and more soldiers with wisdom and life experiences so that we can go out here and we can help our people, brother. That's what this is about. We can help our people, our community, and really starting with ourselves, help ourselves to be better. And then we branch it out from there. We want to go to brother, who did I miss? KH in the building. Go ahead, KH. Yeah, I heard a little bit about you, brother. I heard you got some talents, man. But we welcome, all brothers do, but I heard you got some specialized talents. We welcome you, brother, to the call, brother KH.
Hey, how y'all doing? My fault. I was a little late myself, so
that's all right, brother.
I apologize. Shout out to brother Carlton. I apologize myself.
No, brother, you good.
Shout out to y'all brothers, young G's, OGs in here.
Yes,
I don't really have too much to say myself.
Yes.
I had kind of a trippy day, so I was just looking forward to the recalibration when I got in here. That's all. So
yeah,
I'm just soaking in what y'all saying. You know what I'm saying? Just getting stronger, getting wiser.
Yeah.
And when I really feel that I really got something to say, I'm definitely gonna speak on it. And if there's anything that anybody would like for me to speak on, I'm willing to do that too. But as of today, I don't really have too much to say.
We appreciate you being here. And we appreciate you coming from behind that camera, brother, and letting us see your beautiful black face. Because you're saying a whole lot, brother, right now. You're saying I'm black, I'm beautiful, I'm a soldier up in the East. We salute you, brother.
No doubt.
Respect on your name, brother. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, brother. Much love to you. Brother Tony, we want you to grace us with some wisdom, brother. I know you're loaded. I know you're loaded. You always come and lay it out for us, brother. You know, kind of icy, but thank you, brother KH. We appreciate you, brother.
For sure. Appreciate that too.
I'm muted.
Praise be to Allah. Yes,
sir.
sir. We hear you, Brother Lewis.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Just one quick question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
How old is brother KH? How old is that young brother? How old is he?
I'm 34.
Oh man, bro, y'all fighters, bro. Y'all
warriors, man.
Warriors.
I love it. Warriors. Excites me, man.
I always like it when the young brother gets himself together at a young fighting age, because one of the things that the devil wants to do is cause our young people to mismanage their youth.
Yes.
So, man, thank you, young soldiers.
Yes, sir.
For coming on.
And brother KH, I heard you say you had a trippy day, but that's a blessing, brother, because you know one thing about it is when that happens, you know, and Elijah's mom said some days are better than others, you know, and you know, and that's the cycle of life. But we keep reaching, we keep pulling, and that's one of the reasons why the brotherhood is so important. You know, I know you got some brothers you could chop it up with, but that's where we break bread, you know, and build so that we don't ever be on an island, because that's another trick that's been played against us, man, is that we don't know how to reach out to each other when we in a space sometimes that we just need to just, even sometimes it ain't even necessarily to get into the subject matter. Sometimes it's just be like, just let me ride off your vibration a little bit, bro. You know, and that's what it is sometimes. But I just wanted to send love out on that. And I heard what you said, you know, and felt you. But I pray that whatever it is, you keep building and it all gets well for you, black man. Yes,
now, I'm good, but I'm good now for sure. It just was one of them wild little days, but I'm gravy. We good. I'm in here, so everything's solid, man. We
yes, sir.
We moving forward.
That's what we want to hear, brother.
For sure.
Praise the Most High, brother. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Yeah, brother Tony. Well, yeah, black man.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Salam,
I was just enjoying everything that all of the brothers were saying. You know, I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning, so I'm beyond exhausted. Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir. Well, that's good, brother. If you ain't got nothing in the tank, I ain't gonna force it out of you. But I just want to hear your voice, brother. You know, I know, you know, we've been building one thing. If you don't mind just dropping a few seconds, then we're gonna close out with you, brother Lewis. But if you don't mind, brother Tony, because you know we've been talking a lot about meditation, bro. You know,
yes,
if you just shoot a little shout out for the brotherhood, you know, because a part of when brother Lewis mentioned and a few of us talked about, you know, clean up. Nephew was mentioning, you know, just the things that we're doing to clean up the spirit of the man. You mentioned it, brother Lewis, Sister Minister Ava. That was you that pointed that out, you know. But if you could just kind of point it out, because you know we talked about this other day, brother, and even today I was doing some meditation myself, brother, and you know. And it's really phenomenal. I don't know if y'all can hear. I'm lit. You know what I'm saying? I feel lit right now, brother. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it cleared up some of that the fragmentation. You know, I had to defrag a little bit. But if you don't mind, black man, just sharing a thought on that a little bit, and then we'll go to you, brother Lewis, and you can close us out on what we got going on in the 30th. And we want to kind of do this in short order because I want to get the brothers on the East Coast. I appreciate you brothers coming on. I want to be able to close out with you brothers on the call and just piece them out to everybody at the same time. But brother Lewis, you can close out with the 30th and any other thing that you want to share with us before we close out at that point. Brother Tony.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. You know, I will start off by saying that I enjoyed everything that all of the brothers had shared. You know, I especially enjoyed the young brother Trey and your response to him, because you know, this thing of, and I get to the meditation in just a second, but this thing of social engineering, it wasn't done in a day, and it's not going to be undone in a day.
That's right.
And guess who understood that this process wouldn't be undone? God himself.
That's right.
And this is why he gives us the steps in his exodus of his people out of Jesus, out of Egypt, out of physical bondage, but he knew that they were still in a spiritual and mental bondage, and this is why the Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus the son of Mary, reminded them that every man who commits sin is bonded to sin, because sin is more powerful of a bondage, as Brother Lewis was talking about earlier when he was talking about decency. It is a more powerful binding force and change you harsher than the physical change could ever do, because sin has the grinding power to wear away the very spirit of God. And without that spirit, it doesn't matter how much we desire to be free, we won't have the spark of divine life that gives you and justifies that freedom. You see, so this is why this enemy made so many steps in his social engineering process of us, because as you say all the time, Brother Michael, the black man is God, but this man knew that if I could change who this man is essentially by fundamentally by removing these essential properties, then I could change who he is fundamentally in the divine scheme of things. This is why we have that quote from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who mentions Henry Berry, when Henry Berry said, we have as far as possible removed all light by which avenue by which light may enter into the slave's mind. What did they consider light? This is what we need to understand. Back in the 18th century, they considered light to be divine revelation. They was not looking at light as simple education. And this is why we have to really understand the language, because when we don't understand the language, we can be used in this social engineering process. As we say all of the time, our women are being used against us because they are being socially engineered, because they have been given a language that's not rooted in divine language. See, when God went and got Moses, when he went and got Adam, what was the first thing he taught them? He taught them words, because there is something about God's the language of God, the language of revelation that is above the common speech of man. And so when he gave man this particular language, when he gave man these particular words, this was the authority. See, and that authority got lost in man's fall, but we won't go through that history, but just go look at our condition. The fall of whether it was due to our slave master and their children or not, the black man still had a fall. That fall, being robbed from divine light, took us from the language of God. And if we don't get back to the very divine language of God, no matter how much we desire to come into it, we're still going to be functioning out of a satanic nature, because we're functioning out of a satanic mind. Because guess what? Satan has a language too. See, when the book says God is not the author of confusion, he is the author of peace, they are talking in Hebrew, the rabbinical priests, they're talking about a language that the fallen angels have, and that a language that the sons of God have. They're two distinctly separate languages, and that's what we have to. And I'm only stressing that because, as you and I talk, Brother Michael, one of the reasons that God was angry with Pharaoh, it was not just simply because Pharaoh set himself up as a god beside God, and that he had the children of Israel in abject servitude and slavery. It was because God recognized that Pharaoh was a god beside him, because God had put him in that position. But the problem that God had with Pharaoh was that when he was in the place of God among the people, he offended and abused the very institution of God. So that's why God was angry with him. And that's what man sets. We set in that position to stand in the place, as we say in the Arabiya, the Khalifa, one who stands in the place or successor of God. When we stand in that place, and we do not acknowledge the one in whose place we stand instead of, then that kindles the anger of God. I don't know where all of that feedback is coming from into the
Brother
mic.
Lewis. Yeah. Okay. Hold up. Yeah, you go. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Praise be to Allah. But I wanted to say that because there's a sickness that still exists among us, even in our so-called righteousness. We do things that are an irritant to ourselves and an irritant to others simply because we don't understand what is driving us. And we don't understand what is driving us because we don't sit back and look at the language that we are utilizing to define ourselves and the things that are around us. And if you can't properly define a thing, then you don't know what it is. Plain and simple. This is why God taught Adam what? The names. He was giving him words so that Adam would understand how God saw a thing. Not how Adam saw the thing, not how the angels saw a thing, because God said to them, I know what you know not. So he wasn't looking at how Iblis saw the thing. He wanted Adam to see how God himself saw that thing so that he would know how to properly utilize that thing and the function and nature that God gave it. And that's the only way you can have power over it. And guess what? That is the only way you can have power over yourself. If you do not understand the name that God has given you, see, this is why and I said all of that to get to this point, this is why we talk about in meditation resident frequency, because your resident frequency, that is your atomic vibration, that is the secret name that God has given you. It is just as unique as your fingerprint. Your resident frequency is just as unique as your fingerprint. Nobody has one similar to it. And if you don't know that, then you will never come into the supreme knowledge and purpose that God has pre-purposed you for in his divine design called this universe. And so when you go into these meditative states, you learn the language, first of all, of yourself. And when you learn the language, first of all, of yourself, then you can learn the language of your brother, his atomic vibration. And that way you can be able, see, when the gurus do this over in the East, the masters in the East, they learn how the master shows his student that I can, in a room of total darkness, I can identify every student just by his breathing. You don't even have to utter a word. Why does he does that? Because I have learned my students' resonant frequency. And what would we say in the scriptures loosely? My sheep know my voice, a stranger that they will not follow. See, so there is something in us that even though we don't know God, we're still known of God. And so there is something in us that vibrates. And when you hear somebody speak the truth, you say what? I feel you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I might not know what you're saying. I might not be as articulate with the definition in the words, but I feel you. You see what I'm saying? Because my sheep know my voice. And that's why, Brother Mike, when you put this thing out, we must first be brothers. That's why that is so important, because that is a frequency that a community of gods has to have. If we don't have that same frequency and be able to recognize it, I can look at my brother and see how he's moving. And I say, I know what his motive is. Why? Because I know my brother. I know his frequency. It might look crazy to you, but if my brother put a hole in a boat, if I was there with Kitha and Moses, and Kitha put the hole in the boat, I told Moses, shut your mouth, man. Sit down and take a seat. I know what my brother doing.
Come on.
You see? And so sometimes when the Minister Farrakhan acts, a lot of people don't know what he's doing because they ain't even got on his frequency. They say, oh man, what is he blowing up the spot? He put a hole in the boat like Kitha did on the trip with Moses. He killed the child. He built the wall and the people didn't feed us, but he did a neighborly thing to them, yet they didn't treat us like no neighbor. He said, come on, man, I'm doing this for tomorrow. I ain't doing this for today. And that's what God was showing Moses when he brought Moses up and told him, like we say, like the royal family talks about, in the court in England, the king's speech. God taught him the real king's speech, the divine speech. Hey, this is what I'm doing. And when he sent Moses with that message to Pharaoh, as the brother Hoyt was talking about all of these judgments that are taking place, these judgments are coming because there is a man sitting in the place of God. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, that is the office of the presidency of the United States. It is a powerful office, but this man is off frequency because this man doesn't even know the language of his own office. We have one of the dumbest presidents in the history of presidents in this world. We really do. He has no concern about these institutions. Therefore, he doesn't know how the frequency of these institutions operate. So he came in here as a bull in a china shop, creating all of this chaos, and he's causing it all to crumble down around him. But this is happening because the gods are rising, and our frequency now is so peaceful. What do white people tell their children when they're lost? Go find a black man. If we were such big threats, if we were so dangerous, they don't tell them to go find a white man or a white woman. They don't even tell them to go find a police officer. They tell their children, if you lost, go find the biggest black Negro that you can find. They gonna get you home, because they know something about our nature that we don't know, because these people study us. Why do you think these white people are coming out here now saying, hey, keep y'all kids away from these white kids because they'll kill your children? What do they know? What are they teaching their children behind closed doors that we are not aware of? See, when we come into our frequency, we'll understand, and I'll end on this point, we'll understand that there is always a lesser and cruder frequency that moves against a higher frequency. It's called the negative. It's called, in religion, it's called the you have the positive, which is the it's the negative is the cataphoric is the cataphoric, and the positive is the apophoric. And I might not be pronouncing that right, but that's theology. But these two divine opposites are part of God's nature that work to reveal his supremacy in a thing. So see, we can't just say that we are gods. This is my point. We have to prove it by what is that saying? Without a foe, a soldier never knows his own strength. I don't care about getting grimy and scrapping. And you understand what I'm saying? Mike, we country boys. You know how we do. We still play ball on the blacktop with no shoes.
Blacktop, bro.
So, but without a foe, a soldier never knows his own strength. But this is the beauty about, and I end on this point about meditation that we all have to learn, is that you have to manufacture an opposition for yourself. Otherwise, nature will create opposition for you. So if you are like a master in your studies and you manufacture, this is why fasting is so important, because you're manufacturing you're manufacturing the fire that you're going to willingly take yourself through. So when you take yourself through that fire, notice how nobody comes around to irritate you. Notice how God keeps everything, and the universe keeps everything away from you, because they know that it burns everything up. Sometimes people can't even stand to be around you when you in a fast, because your vibration is so high, it gets so hot, it'll run them away from you. You know, it's like walking through a literal fire. But that's what the purpose of meditation is for, because when we start to mature, we manufacture our own oppositions, just like a person who is lifting weight will constantly, under a controlled environment, increase that weight after weight after weight until he gets to his optimal peak physique, that you look at him and you say, damn, you're looking at a guy when he take that shirt off, you know? But that's what that's what the importance that me and Brother Michael was talking about of meditation. Because when you get in that environment, you have God on your side, you have the angels on your side, you have the universe on your side, because they know that you have reached a certain degree in your awareness that you don't need lesser devils to irritate you now.
That's
What did the
right.
messengers say in the theology of time? If you listen to me, you will have the devil tied around your pinky, and you will be like, look at it and say, you will forget he's there. And when you do, you will look and say, what is that? You know? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Beautiful, Brother Tony. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Brother, we have scholars amongst us. I just have to say, enlightened brothers, and I'm grateful that we do, because it's elevating our energy. You felt your vibration going up on that wisdom. I know you did, because I felt mine's going up on it. I'm lit right now off of it. Before we go right over to Brother Lewis, I just wanted to add a thought. The minister was asked about what does he see when he prays. He said he sees nothing. He sees absolutely nothing, because he's praying to the God himself. The God is all powerful, but he doesn't need to see anything, because the God is the absolute. In the nothingness, there's power. There's divine energy in the nothingness. This is a very important thing for us to understand, brothers. And this is to Brother Tony's point as he closed out. We have a lesson in the supreme wisdom. It says, big fields await the wide awake man to work out. Meditation gives you access. The black man does not have to wait to access the divine unified field that the enemy doesn't know how to access. He don't believe. He thinks that it has to be something cataclysmic to bring about this unification field. The black man has direct access to the divine unified field. We need to simply close our eyes and project our energy into the darkness of self, into the darkness of the universe, brother. And then we need to calm ourselves. And after a while, we get more practice in doing so. We can then start to call things into existence. We can call things into existence and become more like the Father, our Father who created us. He went into the darkness of himself. He went into the deep depth of himself, and he found that he had a second self. And to my beloved and beautiful sisters that have been listening, you are the second self of God. He didn't need you to come from a rib. He didn't operate on a man and make you from a man's rib. He brought you directly from himself. So although we're talking about the abuse and the misuse of our woman, we're not addressing that and blaming the black woman. We are talking about the system that has destroyed and infected us all. And I just want to say that before we leave, for my sisters that are listening with sensitive ears, because these brothers on here, we're growing to love our sisterhood. And part of main thing of what we're talking about is to build on those principles. So Brother Lewis, if you will, we got about another 5 minutes, and we want to close this thing out right at the 9:30 mark. But I just want you to go ahead, brother, and land us, brother. Land this ship for us, definitely. And what your thoughts are, obviously, closing remarks, and then what we'll be doing. Just want to give the brothers an invite to this beautiful event and moment that we are curating there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm so excited, brothers. I'm telling you, brother, we are excited just to be able to get around some brothers and build. And if you can't make it, that's fine. For the brothers on the call, we definitely gonna be broadcasting parts of it and recording it. And we gotta change the algorithm of life for our people, brother, by demonstrating what real brotherhood is. So thank you so much, brothers. Brother Lewis.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Brother Michael, for creating a platform, you and Brother John, and for us to have such a wonderful show and giving us the opportunity to meet all the brothers, and I really like Brother Tony and Brother Jay.
Yes.
But creating a platform for us to meet these young people, that's the thing that really is touching me deep, because without this platform, we couldn't meet these young people.
That's right.
As you close out, there's something that I want all of our brothers to keep in mind. The Bible teaches faith without works is dead. We got to have some work to back our faith. And so I believe that Baton Rouge is an excellent place to start. And Minister Farrakhan said that Baton Rouge was a sign of things to come. This is the first place he spoke after the so-called riots or rebellions over in LA after Rodney King was beaten. So what we want to do, we want to start a movement where we go around and we build things together. We'll start in Baton Rouge. We have a high traffic area where we're going to start pouring some concrete so that we already sell vegetables there, but we'll increase our ability to have our own farmers market. And so this will take place on July the 30th, which is a very short time. We'll pour that concrete on July the 30th. We'll have Christians, Muslims, brothers who ain't necessarily religious but want to work. And we're going to offer a training class to teach brothers how to pour concrete. We'll be there from 7 that morning to probably about noon. We'll break. We'll have a food truck there with some food for everyone, some drinks. Then we'll take a little break and we're going to go right over to our Christian brother, Pastor Errol Domain's church, where we're going to have a live podcast that afternoon. And then the next morning, we're going to get up for Hot Black Coffee Party Think Tank conversation, which we'll have probably wherever we're staying or some central location. And then we're going to visit a barbershop where we're going to have a lively discussion at a barbershop. A barbershop is one of the most honest places you can get a conversation in Black America. So everybody there definitely won't be Muslims or Christians, but you'll be free to talk about some of the solutions that we have to rebuilding the Black business infrastructure. Then we're going to come on out that afternoon for maybe a little barbecue or a little food together, and we'll be at Throw That Dirt, and we might even take a little tour of the local Black business district and talk about some of the opportunities we have to get together and build some business infrastructure. I'm as confident as the sun shines that we can rebuild our community and make it a safe and decent place to live, work, and play. It's going to take some sacrifice, meaning that some of us may have to move into closer proximity to one another so that we might be able to see the advantages in each other's talents. So I'm going to leave that right there, and we'll talk about a lot of that in private.
Thank you so much, Brother Lewis. I'm so looking forward to it, brother. Brother Tony, go ahead.
I just wanted to add this to what Brother Lewis has said, because what he's doing is so important. We had a discussion. I don't know how many of y'all got a chance to see some of the feedback that we were getting from the business meeting in the nation. And I'm just talking exclusively about the nation, because I would thank Brother Mike for sharing with me a lot of it. And I had to go and have some more conversations with other brothers. But the point I'm saying that to what Brother Lewis is saying is that we have gotten away from giving our children legacies in which they can invest in and be proud of. And so this is why they're not taking pride in their communities anymore, because we're not leaving them legacies. In the Committee of 300, when it talks about the wealthiest families that run this country, the reason why they'll never give up what they've been handed down to, because they know the legacy that they've been given. They know the power that comes with it. They know the privilege that comes with it, and they will never let that go. That has to be, we have to compete with that. And that's might take generations, but we have to compete with that. And we have to fight to establish that for our own. So that's beautiful what you're doing, Brother Lewis.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to say this too, because the minister admonished us to do this, because he said he's leaving a legacy for his family. But what about you all? See, his family is getting a legacy. His family is getting the nation. His family is getting in a position where we will be paying charity because of the honor that we have and respect that we have for their father. But he said, what about you all? And that is something that we should begin to take to heart, So thank you again, Brother Lewis.
Thank you so much, brothers. I'm going to close out with this statement. It was impromptu, but I'm just going to go ahead and put this, just read this to you, my brothers, because I think it's just is just a good way to close out our program. And again, I thank you, Brother Lewis, for putting together such a vision, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, and building in whatever capacity that we can. And you know, we got brothers in other cities. We want to come to your city. You may lead a project. We come subordinate to your vision and supporting you in whatever way. We're building this under the umbrella of We Must First Be Brothers, and whatever else you got going on. We ain't taking nothing. We are doing mergers and collaborations, brother. It's time. That's what brotherhood is, man. So you might have something going on. We ain't got to come and rain on your parade. We're gonna join your parade. You know, we just want to be a part of that engine that is doing things in that way. We can document and start, as Brother Jay pointed out, we can tell the narrative. We can change the narrative, brother, and support each other. We got brothers that got businesses that we need to support. We need to know about each other and what we're doing, and that's important as well. But anyway, brothers, if we leave here tonight with only one thing, let it be this. Brotherhood is not a slogan. It is a responsibility. It's a daily discipline. It is choosing love over ego, truth over pride, unity over division, and sacrifice over selfishness. We cannot build a nation if we are constantly tearing one another down. We cannot expect our women and our children to be secured if the men are divided. The strength of a people has always rested on the quality of the relationship between its men. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us we must first be brothers. Those words are not merely a title, they are a divine order. Before we can build businesses, schools, communities, or nations, we must build trust. We must build respect. We must build love. If you have a disagreement with your brother, go to your brother. If he has fallen, lift him, lift him. If he succeeds, celebrate him. If he is struggling, strengthen him. Want for your brother what you want for yourself. Let us lead tonight determined to become the kind of men that our children can follow, our women can trust, and Allah can be pleased with. The world has enough critics. It needs more builders, more peacemakers, more protectors, more brothers. May Allah unite our hearts, remove arrogance from our minds, purify our intentions, and make us examples of true brotherhood in our homes, our communities, and throughout the earth. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. We must first be brothers. Thank you, brothers. Looking forward to seeing you.
Praise be to Allah.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.